Before you buy or sell a home in North Carolina, there's something really important you should understand, and honestly, most people don't. It's called agency, and understanding agency protects you. This isn't about contracts or pressure. It's about knowing who actually represent you and who doesn't. In real estate, agency simply means representation. When you hire a real estate agent, that agent is legally authorized to act on your behalf, to protect your best interest, negotiate for you, and keep your private information confidential. But here's the key. Until you have a written agreement, an agent may not be working for you, even if they're being helpful. If you haven't entered into a written agreement, anything you share with an agent, your budget, your motivation, your timeline, it may not be confidential, and that information can absolutely affect your negotiating power. So the rule of thumb is simple. Don't assume representation. Don't share confidential details, and don't guess. To help protect buyers and sellers, the North Carolina Real Estate Commission requires agents to review a form called the Working with Real Estate Agents Disclosure. You'll see this early, usually at first meaningful contact. This form is not a contract, it's education. It explains the different types of agency relationships and what agents can and can't do, and how representation works in North Carolina. A formal agency relationship starts with a written agreement. For sellers, that's called a listing agreement. For buyers, it's a buyer agency agreement. These agreements define who represents you and explain services and compensation, and always have an expiration date. And yes, the length and the fee are negotiable. If you're selling a home and hire a listing agent, that agent is required to promote your best interests, to be loyal to you, to follow your lawful instructions, to disclose all material facts, and protect your confidential information. Until that agreement is signed, be careful of what you share. Once it's signed, your agent works for you. Sometimes the same firm represents both buyer and seller. This is called dual agency, and it must be disclosed and agreed to in writing by both parties. In dual agency, the firm must treat both sides fairly. Neither side gets an advantage, and certain confidential details are protected. It's typically not very common, but it's important to be aware of it. Some firms also offer designated dual agency, where one agent represents the seller and another represents the buyer, adding an extra layer of clarity. For buyers, if you're buying, you have choices. You can hire a buyer's agent to represent only you. You can agree to dual agency, or you can work with a seller's agent who represents the seller, not you. Now, if an agent does not represent you, they are required to act in the seller's best interests, even if they're friendly or helpful. You need to remember that. Buyer agents can be paid in different ways, directly by the buyer, by the seller or the listing firm, or a combination depending on the agreement. What matters is that the compensation is clearly spelled out in writing before an offer is ever made. Can you buy or sell without an agent? Yeah, absolutely, you can. Sellers may choose to sell for sale by owner. Buyers may choose to be unrepresented. Just remember this, if you are unrepresented, the agent on the other side does not work for you, and they cannot advise you in a way that conflicts with their client's interest. Here's the final takeaway. This isn't about pressure or paperwork, it's about clarity. Before you buy or sell real estate, you need to understand who represents you. You need to ask questions early, and don't assume agency without a written agreement. When agency is clear, everything else becomes smooth.